Chapter 2. Have the guts to decide. Decision fatigue. One of the biggest things that separate the wealthiest of people from the poorest of people is their ability to decide. Powerful people make tough decisions quicker and more often than the powerless. The more time you spend making a decision, the less valuable that decision becomes. Why? Because when we procrastinate on our decision making, those decisions are less likely to be acted on. The biggest opportunities are the ones you should jump on right away. Decision fatigue affects those who get involved with too many minor situations. Not only do you want to avoid majoring in minor things, but you also want to work on your decision making muscle by making a decision and doing so for yourself. If you're living by the advice of others, you're creating fertile soil for seeds of regret to bloom into a garden that is a life unfulfilled. One of the biggest decisions I've had to make was in 2008. What was I going to do after high school? My options were college or the military. I had recently watched a documentary called Fahrenheit 9/11, which convinced me, despite having a heavy military influence in my family, that the military was not where I wanted to be. So the only other foreseeable option was college. But where? My dream school was William Patterson University. I even partied with them while I was in high school and thought I had a surefire chance of getting in. But after applying to a few universities, my choices dwindled down to Fairleigh Dickinson University in Teaneck, New Jersey, or Herkimer Community College in upstate New York. I was accepted into Fairleigh Dickinson University, but my father wanted me to go to Herkimer. My uncle Stephen, an educator in upstate New York, offered me room and board to attend the 2-year college, where tuition was significantly less than that of the 4-year university I had my heart set on. But I was far more attracted to getting out on my own. At Fairleigh Dickinson, I would have a chance to be more independent, experience a 4-year university, and even join Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. What did I do? I turned down the free ride to the JUCO and followed my gut to FDU. Financing this decision would have been an issue if it weren't for my grandmother, Dolores Ardell Spicer, to whom this book is dedicated. If it had not been for her co-signing on my student loans, I would have been a Herkimer general for sure. While at Fairleigh Dickinson, I studied business marketing. I was very active on campus through various organizations and even reactivated the Tall Mu chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. And even though this was a decision that eventually buried me in over $150,000 in student debt for a degree that I'm 15 credits shy of, I am grateful. I learned so much about business, marketing, sales, and psychology from the Silberman School of Business that I'm confident in my ability to run a profitable organization. I received firsthand experience in running organizations as a student leader that served on multiple executive boards on campus. I was mentored by outstanding Black men who accepted me as the lone dog who would reactivate Tall Mu on the yard. This in turn put me in a position to mentor those who sought membership into the greatest fraternity on earth post Spring 2010. Even though some of you may have squirmed reading the amount of debt I accrued at Fairleigh Dickinson, I'm grateful for that too. Without the loans, I would not have been motivated to start a business and become financially literate. As I saw it, there was no way for me to ever pay Sally Mae $150,000 in my lifetime and also live a fulfilling life. My options were work a job I hate to make $4,000 monthly student loan payments and live off of the remaining scraps, or I could start a business and at least give myself a chance to live a life worth living and not be enslaved to my debt. If it had not been for my decision to take out those loans, we would not be having this conversation. This is the decision that sparked the journey that gave me the many experiences that I plan to provide to you as the value in this book. See, when you're making a huge decision, you must realize that the option that you do not choose can never be a factor in the experiences you're having. For example, I cannot tell you what would have happened had I gone to Herkimer. I cannot tell you what life would be like had I sacrificed all of the experiences I received from my decision to go to Fairleigh Dickinson, including taking on this tremendous amount of debt. I can, however, guess, and that is what people tend to do. They guess what life could have been had they been a different person making a different decision at a specific time. But it does us no good to wish we had done it differently, because we did not do it differently. It is the past, and there's no changing that. Once you make a decision, you send yourself off in a certain direction. And failure to have a direction is failure to move at all. And when you stand still, so will everything around you. The ability to decide is one of the strongest superpowers you have. Honing this skill can be the reason you design your life custom to your imagination. The inability to decide will render you powerless, and you will be at the mercy of other people's designing your life for you. Failure to choose one of your options, no matter how many there are, is the decision to have nothing. If you want to make your dreams a reality, you must have the guts to decide.